Question number 8. A boat is traveling a distance of 150 kilometers at a planned speed of 25 kilometers per hour. The journey will face an average current of W kilometers per hour the entire time, meaning the boat is moving directly against the current. The time t in hours of the journey is a function of the speed of the current W in kilometers per hour and can be modeled by t of W equal 150 over 25 minus W. Now, before we jump into the answering the question, let's just try to get an understanding of what is happening in the situation presented. So here we're talking about a boat um, that's heading in a particular direction. It's on a journey to somewhere, someplace, or wherever. And so they're planning to travel at a speed of 25 kilometers per hour. However, it's going to be facing a current, moving directly against the current. All right. So, what this is saying to us is that looking at the graph, notice that as the current increases, it means that the time is also increasing in terms of the boat traveling. All right. And so, with that said, it asks, what does T of 5 mean in this situation? Remember that W, which is along the x axis, is the speed of the current. But the output values, which would be T of W, which is an output value, would tell you how long it would take, the time, right? And so, in terms of responding to this question, it means then that T of 5 is an output value. And so, T of 5 is the travel time, this value right here. Yeah? So, T of 5 is the travel time for the boat if the current is 5 kilometers per hour. So remember, this W is an input value, which is the current, but T of 5 is an output value, which is the travel time. And we would have answered part A. Now, part B says, at what value of W does the graph have a vertical asymptote? That's the question. And it asks us to explain how we know and what this asymptote means in the situation. Now we have to look at the equation that we were given. Okay? So remember, in this case, our denominator cannot equal zero. And so if our denominator cannot equal zero, let's go ahead and set it equal to zero to see what value will make it zero. And we know we eliminate that value. So of course, 25 minus W equals zero. So all we can do is just add W to both sides. And by adding W to both sides, those will cancel off, leaving us with 25 equal W. So we know if W is 25, then our denominator is going to be 0. And so that won't happen. And so what that means is that we will have a vertical asymptote at W equal 25 will be our asymptote. So let me go ahead and label that. That's our vertical asymptote. And if you look at the graph too, and even if you want a better look at the graph, you can always put it in Desmos, of course. Put it in Desmos and you will notice where your asymptote is located. So we know that our asymptote is at W equal 25, but it says explain how you know what the asymptote means in the situation. Remember, W is the current, right? So if W is the current, then it means that if the speed of the boat and the current are the same, then the boat isn't going to be moving, right? It's going to be stationary. And so that's exactly what it means. So let's go ahead and make note of that. So all we're going to say is that if the speed of the boat and the current are the same, then the boat would never reach its destination. And that's it, simply said. And just like that, we are finished with question number 8.